thank you very much for accepting this this one-on-one, this conversation. I would like to start introducing you to you. Diego. Diego is currently you're currently working as an independent consultant, right? For a Nordic company. However, you have experience working with top companies such as Vestas, Siemens. I don't know if I pronounced correct, Vestas, but a lot of experience, especially in renewables, which is a growing market in Latin America. And Diego, I mean, this is your time. I would like for you to give us an introduction of yourself, your career, your working experience, and what are you currently doing right now?
Sure. Well, my name is Diogo, but you can also call me Diego. I'm used to it.
Yes.
And I'm Brazilian myself, but I lived actually half of my life in Europe, where I started actually to work on the renewable energy industry. So yeah, like you briefly said, I don't want to go into the specifics of that, but I've been working into the three major global manufacturers of wind turbines. I started with Siemens, and then Siemens Wind Power, and then I worked for ALSTOM and General Electric. And lately, I was working for Vestas, which is the largest manufacturer in the world, and I was responsible for business development and operations in procurement and engineering for Latin America. So I was working very much responsible for these operations from Mexico the whole way down to Argentina and Chile. So yes, so that's in short my experience as a professional.
No, it's perfect. It's awesome. Now, Diogo, could you please talk us about your experience when working for a director role, a regional position? What are the skills, the soft skills that you look for a person who's going to join in your team?
Sure. Well, Enrique, looking to the soft skills, I think it depends a lot about what type of job are we looking for the person and the job description itself. But I think some of the soft skills that irrespective, regardless the position that we're talking about, I always look for someone who has good in communicative skills, communication, and a resilient type of person. And above everything, I always look for someone who is a very strong team player. Some quick reasons why I choose these three types in general, because the first one, putting this in this sequence, a team player, we are always a team. We work as a team. So we do no good in playing chess here. So it's like we are more like a soccer team. Everybody has a specific role, but we need a good team to achieve the roles. And without good communication between inside the team, we will never reach anything. I believe so. And resilience is also, yes, independent if you're working with sales or in purchasing or whatever roles. I think resilience, it means that it's how good you are to go back to the position, to the shape that you initially were. So that means we need to be good at deal with losses. If you're working with sales, we have to be very good at insisting and capturing a lot of customers, and we're gonna get a lot of no's. So this is very frustrating. So we need to be resilient, to always be back in our original shape. And it's also the same thing if we work in a procurement role as well. It's very hard to meet the procurement targets, and you're going to get a lot of denials from suppliers and from warehouse people. So yes, in short, communication, resilience, and team good play. Those are the three key aspects for me.
Okay, very good. What questions will you typically ask if there are like common questions? I totally agree with you. I think that if you want, we can split it in managerial roles and non-managerial roles. Okay. what types of questions would you normally ask for a person that is a non-managerial and a person whose profile is managerial?
Well, if yeah, it's a bit tricky because one thing in general that I like to ask for both is actually I like to go out a little bit of the scope of the profession, and I want to know who they are as persons, what they do on their free time. I mean, this may be a little bit it's too old-fashioned questions, but I think it's important. I like to know, you know, if you're someone who sits at home and likes to read, or if you're like an active I don't know, basketball players, you know, it also shows me a little bit who you are as a person. And none of it is good or bad if you are someone who likes to say reading, or if you're someone who likes to climb a mountain. It just helps me to better understand who you are and perhaps better redirect you inside the team. Going back to your question, having said that, what questions for a manager or for specialist role, let's say, for that way. Definitely for a manager, and the highest level we climb, the more relevant it becomes, I believe, is the ability to listen to people. So if you're talking to supervisors, managers, directors, and VPs or whatever, the higher you are, the more people you're going to have under you, and I experienced also through my career that the higher we climb in the ladder, the better we need to be in terms of dealing with people. And this is not only regarding your team, it's also dealing with internal stakeholders. As me as a executive director, for instance, I previously had to deal at Vestas with a lot internally, with internal stakeholders, with the other directors, with other VPs from very different areas, and understanding that my area, the business development area, for instance, is not the only part of Vestas. So I also need to hear a lot what the other directors had to say, from the finance director, the construction director, the legal director, and try to see how my role and my team would fit into this machine. So so this way I could perform better by taking into consideration how my decisions would impact the other areas. So I think, and for the specialist roles, if you don't have any direct reports, the type of question that I always ask is always to see how they will perform as a team. Unless, again, if it's a really unique role, that is it's a unique position that you will be working alone, maybe has a business analytics, then it's more specialized, but almost exceptions, as I would say. But okay. Yes, okay, that's my understanding.
Great, thank you very much for sharing that. Have you ever had a negative experience, you know, an unfortunate experience when interviewing a candidate, you know, that the candidate was not prepared, that the candidate didn't know anything about the company, some negative experience?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had. And I can tell this for every candidate. Please, first thing, never, ever, ever, absolutely never lie. Don't just say, I don't know. There's nothing wrong to say, I'm sorry, I don't know, but don't try to make up. Don't try to come up with something that to try to impress the interviewer. Because those guys who are interviewing you, they're intelligent, they're smart people as well. So we can tell that if you are trying to make up, and if you, so just say, I'm sorry, I don't know. There's nothing wrong about it. Trying to make up is just gonna make things time consuming, and the interview starts to get boring, and then I'll get the impression that this guy is trying to fool me. So it's like it's not a good move. And even one step before than that, be aware on your CV as well. That's the worst thing of all. Enrique, I had times, and not more than once and two or three, several times, that people wrote on the CV they're fluent in English and fluent in press, and they made a 10-day trip to Germany, and they say, yes, I have
International
level of
experience.
German. It's like, no, don't. If you can't use it for business level, just don't put on your CV.
Don't put it. Agree.
And if you're good at English, write that you are good at English, not that you are highly proficient, because that's something that is very quick to assess. And if I suddenly switch a conversation to English with you, and I'm in Brazil, so I interview people in Portuguese, but at some point I switch to English, and I've seen people that just, I mean, you can sometimes people are nervous and they can't. You say, but you can see that even though you're nervous and you kind of can't move forward, but by the few words that we speak, I can see that you can see if we are speaking proper English, grammatically correct, and using the right vocabulary, and you're just freezing because you're nervous to speak in English. That's fine. So that's two things. And the second thing, it's also about the preparation. So please don't ever go to be interviewed, especially by someone senior inside an organization, and show a lack of knowledge about the company. It's just a no-go. Think about it. If you I don't know, if you it's as simple as that. You'll be interviewed by someone who works in a company, and if this someone works, what do you think about my company? If you just say things that is highly superficial, it will show no interest. And I will completely also will lose my interest towards you. So the two things, in short: never lie on your CV, never lie during the interview, say that you don't know, and the third is preparation. Go to the interview well prepared with a very good level of knowledge, and do your homework about the company.
Okay. Great, awesome, thank you. Diogo, do you have any advice for professionals who are seeking to work in renewables? Because I mean, even though the renewables industry is growing a lot in Europe, in the United States, in Australia, Japan, it's practically brand new here in the Latin American market. I know that it's from my experience, I think that it's more developed over there in Brazil. I think that the market is a little bit bigger. But do you have any advice? Do you have any course, any training, something that is really that a candidate, that a person could find valuable if they want to join the renewable industry?
Yes, I would say, Enrique, first of all, don't try to reinvent yourself out of nothing in a very short time. This will be very tiresome and time consuming, and also financially speaking, you can spend a lot of money into doing some trainings and online, and I'm not saying this is not good. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying that maybe the first thing to do is just to look into yourself and look into what are the transferable skills that you could use to present yourself for a potential employer in the renewable industry. So, if you are civil engineer who has been working constructing buildings, look for jobs into the renewable industry that could fit to your profile. See the job description on the job ad, and try to translate your profile into these descriptions. Because again, in the renewable industry, we know that it's a new market, and we not always look for people. We even sometimes prefer people who comes with a different background, because in the renewable industry we try to shape our own industry. So we're trying to create something new. So don't try. This is the first advice. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Focus on your internal and transferable skills. That's the first big thing. The second one, show to your interviewer that you have why you're interested to work in the renewable industry. Are you one guy who had a very big and nice job at a oil and gas company, who recently went down, and then you lost your job, and now you are looking to the renewable just because of something new? And then as soon as the oil and gas goes up again, then you're gonna say, hey guys, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm back to big fat old daddy papa oil. No, and we can point that out. We can see if you have this kind of intention. So be honest and about yourself. And a best way to show genuine interest for the renewable industry, it is tell your interviewer that you've been reading books about this and that, and you know, show them that you genuinely interested and that you know at least a little bit about the industry, you know. And thirdly, yes, of course, go to thousands of online websites for online trainings, and yeah, you can do something online also that will further show that you have like a real interest to work for this type of industry, because there are thousands of types of trainings that you can do to help you to reshape your profile. So those are the three ones that I would say is focus on transferable skills, try to learn, have general and genuine interest and knowledge about the industry, and thirdly, take some online courses that would just add up to the profile.
Okay. So, you know, something that, you know, I made a post, during my post that mentioning that I will be interviewing leaders from different industries. I let people, I give the people the option of asking an interview. And one of the interviews that I was asked from a recent graduate, you know, talking about recent graduates, and maybe if you have a case where you can point that exception, do you focus, or do you think that the experience is more valuable, or do you focus more on, you know, their attitude, you know, their willingness to learn, the willingness to grow? What do you have more preference between experience or the skills, the soft skills, or yeah, soft skills?
Good question. I think, Enrique, the experience, yes, is always relevant, and then especially if you're going for more senior roles, then definitely for higher level seniority, you need to have some kind of match and thus for the roles. But one thing that I think, from on my opinion, is always very important is the motivation. One question that I always ask my candidates is that I try to find out how motivated they are. And I had cases where I saw that the candidate was so motivated that he really wanted that, and that I literally hired him on the spot. Of course, because it was a series of many things, like the guy showed that he had all the skills that I was looking for. It was a good match, you know. And then, but I always ask them, say, do you want this job? Do you really want? How bad do you want this job? You know, and tell me, why do you really want this job? You know, sometimes some candidates will just say like, yes, I want this job. I think it's a good job. Oh, the renewable industry is nice, and then but sometimes you see people with a passion for it. No, I really want this job, and like, so I think for the interviewer, I think it's always good to ask questions, to see these kind of questions. Do you really want this job, and why? And also and for the persons being interviewed, show some passion. You know, like I am representing my industry as well. So show me that you have some passion, some fire inside you for that. And don't make me think that I'm just another. I'm Vestas, but don't make me think that I could be Vestas, I could be Philip Morris, I could be Colgate, or I could be just any other company. No. So like, I want you to come to work for me because you have a genuine passion for this industry and for this type of job. Okay. And just as a disclaimer, I'm not working at Vestas anymore. I'm not just using Vestas as my previous job. Now I'm a private consultant, so it's so I'm trying to put this context in a corporate perspective.
Good. Agree. Thank you very much. Diogo, that's it from my side. Do you have any advice, any recommendations for people for in a process or not being in a process? Do you have any advice for them?
I think, Enrique, one specific advice that I'll give now, right now, for this specific situation that we have on this global corona crisis, uh, I would tell people to maybe look a little bit inside yourselves, and because some people are starting to say, okay, it's going to take a long time until companies start hiring again, and so, but ask yourself, what kind of path do you want? Do you want to go back, if you are unemployed? Do you want to go back to the corporate life, or do you want to build something for yourself, work as a consultant, or or being or change have a different complete change in your career? So I think it's good, the first as a first thing is to have clear what you want. There's nothing wrong that you're looking for freelance works and for whatever type, and then with the intention to go back to the corporate life, but try to focus and picture yourself where you want to be, so otherwise you're going to be shooting for all sorts of directions. So try to have a little bit of focus right now, and make a plan. So that will help you to better to go through the along the crisis.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Well, Diego, that's it. That's it from my side. I appreciate once again for making yourself available, and I wish you all the best. We'll be in touch, and
Absolutely.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.